2014 was largely a disappointment in the year of gaming. While yes, there were many great games from Shadow of Mordor, Super Smash Bros, and Far Cry 4, even though that was basically a copy and paste, but the games that gathered the most hype during the year, well, didn't quite match the hopes of most gamers. From huge graphical downgrades and ultimately bland games, to games that just had no replayability and no campaign. But there is one game from the studio that made the fantastic and one of the greatest gaming series ever, Halo, and they came out with the game that would be the new horizon and expansion of the FPS genre, and the game that would be the pinnacle of MMO FPS. And with the rise of hopes for this glorious new series, it soon released, and me and my roommate got it first day and snuggled up with our PJs and stuck it in our shiny new PS4s with our controllers ready in hand, and we beat the main campaign in 2 sittings and only had to grind and PvP left after that. This is a game series that is going to expand over 3 games in 10 years, but from the start and even to now, it overall does not have the depth that I think many expected. We expected the giant lively expanding world, and instead we got giant shooting gallery. But even with all that, there has to be something good about this game. I'd hope at least, and for the fact that I am still for some reason getting the DLCs, there's gotta be something that has me coming back. There are a few things that are somewhat decent or alright about this game, so let's go ahead and dive into what the hell is good about Destiny. Let's go ahead and start out with the most important aspect of almost any game, and FPS especially, and well, that would be the shooting, or gameplay, and how it feels. Being it was made by Bungie, shooting in this aspect of the game should be one of the strongest points, and for the most part, it is. Shooting and movement, while not always the smoothest and responsive, has a strong sort of weight and recoil to the guns that make it fun and, for the most part, quick, and also having the arsenal that you have, it makes you very dangerous in combat, and also having the variety of weapons from snipers, swords, and rocket launchers all give you a different way to play, and for the most part, each new gun has its own unique feel to it. And with this, it's not exactly the same feel as you would get from Halo. And as I said, there seems to be more weight to your movement when running and jumping, and to me, this is a good thing, giving you a decently unique feel for an FPS combat, but nothing too different. Overall, it's fun to play. But this next note, I can see how it's more controversial for this game, but I actually think that Taken King is a decent and enjoyable DLC. While I hate the way they're releasing this game, this expansion is big enough to make the game feel like it's actually worth it. To which before, the amount of content in the game was honestly not worth a $60 purchase, but this game doubles the length of the main campaign to around 20 hours long, and adds a lot more. It has the most interesting and unique enemies in the series as of now, being the Taken that sometimes duplicate over time, and they're actually halfway difficult too. It gives us some excellent dungeons, and on these dungeons you need some real teamwork to complete them, and I find the bosses for the most part decent, interesting, and unique for the most part. While I did find the Shield Brothers battle to be frustrating at times, it was largely due to the fact that they kept summoning waves of extra enemies, which is a very cheap way to make bosses harder, because otherwise if it was just those 2 brothers that I was fighting, I felt like it would be a very fun battle. And for the most part it was, other than the waves of enemies that they added on. We also get a halfway more interesting story than what we had seen before that you can follow, because it has a more basic premise, but expanding through some cutscenes and actually showing us some personality to the characters that we sort of follow, I guess you want to call it following us. They help us get through the game, especially for this, the best character in this game, the best robot hunter, the only one with a ton of personality, but nonetheless it gave more personality to the series and the story, and it was our first real glimpse at fun and emotion through the story too, no matter how short it may have been. Also, the new classes are excellent and strong for all 3 main characters. From the bow and arrow that you can shoot 3 times after you get a while and stick people, which is a pretty cool concept, to throwing freaking hammer. For the most part, these are all things that the main game didn't have, and it really needed to expand on what the game had before. It felt like more of a, I wouldn't say a sequel to the game, but it's more how you should make a sequel. It expanded on some of the concepts that it had and made almost everything about the game better. Such as, while not being perfect, it did help the story get into a more interesting direction, even though still it's kind of a mess just by the fact that it doesn't know how to tell a story that well, but still, it was better told than it was in the first part of the game. Nonetheless, the two final things that I will say are solid points for the game are the aesthetics in the music. And with these visuals, they're almost annoyingly good for the fact that we get a look at all these expansive vistas and worlds, to which we can see the potential that all these worlds have. Especially looking at the city in the tower. We can see everything down below it, but we never get to go down there. We never get to see the expansion of the world outside of many small little areas that we're confined to. But either way, it's very beautiful. And it gives us a nice, unique atmosphere. And honestly, it gives us the best storytelling that the game has to offer, showing us the overtaking of each world and how each enemy has affected the worlds that they are on, and how they fit in, from the glowing special effects that the Taken have taken over, and then the expanding ships that the Fallen have brought to our world, and show them actually coercing and attaching to our world, and making bases. And at times it can be interesting to explore these different worlds. We also have the music and the OST, which again, these two aspects are some of the strongest aspects of the game, giving you the tension and the feeling that the story and the characters should be giving you, even though they really don't. The music is ominous, but at times epic and powerful in nature of boss battles, giving you the urgency that you need to feel in those times, or the feeling of being a badass. And so yeah, Destiny 80% of the time feels like an Activision cash grab that we've come to expect from them. But it does have some fun and feeling that is hidden inside the microtransactions and nearly non-existent storytelling. While my hope and expectations are very low for Destiny 2, largely because Activision obviously has a very strong hold on Bungie, maybe, just maybe, there could be a slight chance of Destiny 2 being genuinely good. Nonetheless, what do you think of Destiny? Have you played it? Or are there reasons you haven't played it? Or do you love the game or do you hate the game? But that is it. My name is Arcane, and I will see you all next time. Peace out.